ZhiYun has sent me this, the Cinepeer CM15. How's that for timed lighting effects? A tiny but powerful video and effects light from their new cheap but still nice line of Cinepeer videography stuff. In fact, I just used this thing to light up the entire background for a video I just made for my other channel about charging an electric scooter on a treadmill, like you do. But anyway, this entire blue glowing background in a fairly large warehouse wall, that's all just this one little guy. I'm legitimately impressed. In the box, you get a couple of mounting options. You get a hot shoe, cold shoe attachment, and a mount with a little clip, I'm assuming for a laptop screen or like iPhone paparazzi action. You also get this little rubberized diffuser for the front. Personally, I like to pair this thing with a bigger articulating pinchy arm thing, so you can clamp it to pretty much any surface. Or, for instance, in the warehouse, this was actually clamped onto the top of a wet vac that happened to be sitting in front of that stack of wire cages. I have a bunch of little lights this size for highlighting things. There's one back here highlighting the edge of this monitor on this very frame. This is a small rig one. This one's from Neewer, but I would put the ZhiYun one in a category above the normal tiny light of this size. For one, it's a lot brighter. It's probably hard to tell because they're both gonna blow out the camera, but this camera blowout bulb is gonna be bigger, even though these lights are the same size. 15 watts in LED terms is really bright. If I was gonna be using this to accent something on the shelf back there, it would never be at 100%. That would just be too bright. But two, one of the things that kills LEDs the fastest, and all electronics really, is heat. And this guy has a little fan built right in here. It's almost completely silent. Here, let me get it to kick on. All right, so fan is running. Maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't. I can't hear it with my arm out, so it's almost completely silent. And it doesn't kick on until the light heats up, until the light's like pretty bright. Smart fan. This thing is adjustable not only for white balance, all the way from 2500K to 10,000K, but it also has a green to magenta tint control, something you normally have to deal with fixing in the edit. And this guy isn't just made for white light. It's got full RGB, programmable in HLS color theory in terms of degrees, but also in specific RGB values if you need to match a color. Then it's got the whole suite of special effects that you'd find on bigger video lights. If you're shooting indie films, this thing will come in handy over and over. Everybody loves a faulty bulb. I was recently the DP for a thing called Rodney's Blue. You never know when you're gonna need to clamp a light like this onto, for instance, a work light that was way too bright in reality, but we wanted it to appear like it was on. I also use this for taking thumbnail photos when I want crazy lighting. It's a whole lot easier to manipulate a little tripod like this than it is a big video light. Or just for background highlights on YouTube videos. As you can see, I tend to throw various splashes of color on different out of focus stuff back there. Then I do have the occasional need for a red or a blue glow while throwing fake money on a fake craps table. Totally normal. The CM15 charges through a USBC port, and you can charge it while it's in use. And it's smart enough to read the wattage that you're providing, so if you're plugging into something like a laptop, which only, I think, can shoot out like 9 watts, 7 watts. Take a little video here. You can see this little thing comes up on the top of the screen where it says PD7. And then if I crank it up, it'll only go to 41%. For example. And that's because I'm only giving this thing 7 watts of power, so it only wants to go to half power so that if I want to leave it on continuously forever, it's never going to drain the battery to 0 and shut off in the middle of filming. But if you've got a bigger power supply, like this one from Neewer, this can put out, I don't even know how much, I think like 90 watts. 65 watts. So you can see, this thing says that it reads 65 watts coming out of the battery, and therefore I can go to 100% power. Then you've got the battery life of this big thing, which will last forever. Literally forever. So if you're using this for a permanent YouTube set background or whatever, and you don't want to have to worry about charging the battery, you can just plug it into like a wall wart. You can just plug it into a USB-C power supply, run it forever. The bottom is threaded at 1/4-20, which is the same as everything. So like video light stands, rigging hardware, just everything video, basically, everything cameras. It's the same thing that's on the bottom of your camera. Screw on a tripod mount, use it on a tripod. You can just, anything camera related will screw into the bottom of this thing. And all those things you already own will just mount out of the box. This one's gonna join my background and add some more already unnecessary RGB to, I think, my pile of gimbals back there on the shelf. Let's make it red. ZhiYun is really running up the list of my favorite brands. The end.